Hey, how's it going, everyone? Just back with another Reddit article, and again, I'm using Reddit quite a bit now. I just think, it's really interesting, and accurate to hear people's stories, and sad at the same time because people are coming to the conclusion now that I have, and looks like a lot of people are waking up to the job market, and and just what we're being fed in corporate mainstream corporate media is not what's happening in day-to-day life, with feet on the ground. So this post starts off with, now that unemployment rate is 3.9%, how is everyone finding the job market right now? I don't know if it was meant to be in a sarcastic tone, but the people replying, are giving their real stories. It starts off 160 applications, 3 interviews, no offer. Same. People with master's degrees work part-time at UPS, waiting on a job interview result, had a degree working as a dishwasher at some point. I like these companies that complain about not having qualified candidates. Hey, how about you train people to do the job? God forbid you invest in people. And that's very true. That's essentially what's happening, is that you have to fit a very, very narrow profile because there are less jobs, and usually they're looking for somebody either wildly perfectly qualified, to the T, or someone who's they can use for political purposes. They know that they're underqualified and they can sort of plot along, and sort of manipulate them, or just ensure that the manager who's hiring them doesn't have any issues in terms of their own job security. So I've seen that in my own career, where hiring managers will purposely hire people who they know will not be a threat to their own job. Entry-level job requires 3 to 5 years experience, recent college grad. Employers want people with 4 years plus experience to work part-time, $12 an hour with no benefits in their ideal world. So you can see people are kind of pouring their heart out, in some of these posts. Gaps in work history, which in this system is deemed a bad thing, even though it's a result of the system. So they're basically dinging you for something that is the system's fault. Seriously, I get the impression many companies don't want to hire an employee and instead want to be able to farm out to someone who is basically their own company. Either that, or they want people to lie on their resume so they can easily fire them for cause. Unethical, if you ask me, but ethics isn't exactly a moneymaker. The whole recruiting business is essentially outsourcing, and so you have to screen, the recruiter represents a screen, a barrier, and then they'll filter out people that, fit according to certain criteria, and then the company will then review you. So it just constipates the whole process, and if you do get a job, it's 1, 2, 3 months of interviewing. You do have these very optimistic types that come on here and say, even if it takes 5 years to get the job you want, I graduated with a BS in economics, blah blah blah. But 5 years to get a job is, that's kind of ridiculous. Someone should kind of call that out. This thread is too long that I probably won't post anything at this point, my 2 cents. But there is a lot of competition for every job I apply for, and there's always more qualified candidates. If everyone is happily employed and working jobs they liked, I would not be competing with hundreds of other people for practically every job I apply for. That unemployment number means jack shit for me and for the thousands of other people who are long-term unemployed, not by their choice, but by employers simply constantly looking over them and picking people with more experience. And I actually upvoted this comment. This is something that bothers the hell out of me. How the ever-loving F are you supposed to get that experience in the first place if nobody takes a chance on you? And no, an unpaid internship is not an answer. We need to be able to afford to keep food in our stomachs and a roof over our head, especially fresh out of college with tens of thousands in student loan debt, which I'm sure is the case for many people right now, possibly even most grads who just graduated. Hear someone saying to volunteer. I'm an experienced professional currently working but just hate my job. I've been job hunting for about a year now. Even for people like me, it's cutthroat competitive out there. Nobody's going nowhere fast. I'm in the same place. I'm coming up on 2 years of my current position, and I've maybe gotten 2 callbacks. I've basically been applying for new stuff since the day that I started. I think a lot of people can resonate with that. So, this, again, Reddit unemployed, I think this post actually was brought over from the jobs discussion, job searching, r/jobs. And, another kind of critique about Reddit, I got kicked off for a week just because I was too negative. I was talking about basically the end times and stuff, which they don't want, which makes sense that they wouldn't want that in this feed. But, when we're at the point where we need an explanation, like a lot of these people are looking for, of why things are so bad, and to us, it's very clear that we are in the end times, we should help people connect the dots. It's one thing if I was, the end times were not founded in anything real that's happening, and things are bad, but not really that bad or whatever. But we see Bible prophecy coming true right before our eyes. I mean, literally the mark of the beast is in the news now, and in the fringe news, like I posted in my Zero Hedge video. So, I mean, it's obvious. And so, we're basically, this to me is more proof that what the Bible is saying is going to happen, because excuse me, if it were not true, there would be no reason to moderate this, and not allow people to talk about it and speculate, that it's there. It's like, what difference does it make? It's like, even with flat earth, it's like, if the earth is a ball, what's the big deal? Let people talk about it. It's like, eventually they'll just come to their senses and realize that it's not flat. Like it's just, we made a mistake. We trusted our senses too much. We were trying to be clever, and go against the grain and be cool. But, it's really a ball spinning, even though it's far-fetched. Just let them be. It's like, it's a very objective thing. It's not something that, even like me speculating about the end times, that's a much more subjective than the objective truth of what the shape of the earth is. So the fact that we have opposition, to me, and especially the way that the opposition is behaving, like on Reddit, kicking me out for a week or whatever, punishing me, and then the opposition in the ball earth, the opposition coming from the ball earth actually reaffirms that the flat earth is true, and the end times is very likely here by the moderator doing what they did on Reddit. So, it's tough out there. I think, this is unfortunately not going to get better, because the people that do have jobs, they're kind of, they're silent, and they're not speaking up because they know that their job's at stake and it's hanging by a fairly thin thread. And even if it's secure, they're even more unlikely to say anything because they want to keep that security, So it's like a very delicate sort of situation. You're not going to get the masses to, rebel against the people that are keeping them employed. So in my opinion, this has to keep getting worse. And to me, it's like it's getting to the point for a lot of people where, obviously not having a job becomes unlivable and scary looking to the future. But even those that have a job, the majority of them don't like it. They don't they don't look forward to waking up in the morning and going to their job, and I can think of pretty much everybody I know, and I'm not saying that to exaggerate, they just do not like their job. So I feel we're living in the end times again, and Reddit is a good resource if you need information and want to hear about other people kind of going through